Okay, so I'm back and I wanted to show you guys something. This is just a basic technique that you should know how to do and you should know how to employ. So here I have my tire has a leak, a persistent leak, and there doesn't appear to be any puncture, and I think really how to add more sealant, particularly if you're out on the trail and you have an issue where you're not getting a good seal, or maybe you had a puncture, not a sidewall puncture. Sidewall punctures are special. You know, you're going to need to throw plugs in, you're going to need to patch. You may need to put more stands in. But you know, maybe you have like a thorn or something that punctures an area other than the sidewall. You pull it out and it doesn't seal. You're like, okay, I need to get more sealant in. So what's a nice quote-unquote field expedient method? So the first thing that I like to do, and forgive me for doing this one-handed, but I'm going to have to because I'm holding the phone here, is you're going to want to get your tire down like so. And of course, my front tire just moved. So there we go. All right. So you want to get your valve stem down kind of low here. And then I go to my tire kit here, my tire and chain kit that I keep. All right, and I'll just pull out things that I have in here. So I carry a chain breaker. See how much that thing gets used, right? I carry a couple of plug kits. Okay, so here's one that's actually been used. And then I have extra plugs as well. Knowing how to use that is an essential skill. I've got some Pedro's tire levers. These are nice and light. Carry a couple of, you can never have enough zip ties, I'll tell you what, they'll let you do a lot of stuff. All right, and then I have an extra plug introducer there. Carries some stands, so we're going to use the stands tire sealant. This little bottle there. And this little guy here, this is called a core remover. These are cheap, and I think an essential piece of kit that you should carry. And I'll show you why if you've never used this before. Okay, so what are you going to want to do? You want to take your equipment here. All right. And so what you're going to want to do is, let me zoom in here. You can see these valves are a little different here. And there's a little screw on top. You open that. Alright, and you can see I can let air out. But it's really hard to get anything into the tire here. And so you think, oh shit, I gotta pull the tire off and pull this whole thing off, or I've got to break the bead on the tire and dump the sealant in, and then try to get the bead to seal and all that. Sure, you can do that, or you can use your core remover here, and you put that right on top of the quote-unquote core. And the way this valve stem is set up is you have this outer part, and then you have a little inner part that you can actually take off. So let me show you how that works. Screw that down. And so I'll put that on, and I'll unscrew the core like so. Alright, now pull the core out. Make sure you keep track of that, and keep that accountable, because that's going to need to go back in. Alright, and then what you might want to do is, I'm going to move the tire up just a little bit, because you can see how this is squashed down, right? Because I want to be able to get the sealant in. And now you see that I have a little hole, and that's why I really like these stands, pre-packaged emergency tire sealants. Is you can see that fits in there really nice. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to there you go. You have a little top you need to take off here first. And so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to set the phone down. So apologize right now, but there we go. It's on. I broke the seal, peeled it off, the inner lining rather. Put the cap back on. All right, and here we go. See the stands. Shoot that in there. I think it's about 60 milliliters in these little stands, prepackaged. There we go. All right. Good deal. Set that aside. And then I'll go ahead and put the core back in. Alright, there we are. And I might even need to tighten this little collar down a little bit. Alright. And then, there we go. Make sure that's snug. Alright. And then, if you're out on the trail all by yourself, guess what? There you go. Or if you have a CO2, you can throw a CO2 on there as well. But, you know, good old fail-safe hand pump. But because I'm not on the trail, I've got my standing pump. So I'll go ahead and pump the tire up, and then I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so now we're back, and I've inflated the tire, and you see that the valve stem was kind of down here, and then I brought it up here. Because if you keep it down there, sometimes you can get a lot of sealant that comes out, and that can be problematic. So just move it up a little bit, inflate it, okay? And typically what you want to do, or what I do, is I'm going to inflate with more pressure than I need. And again, with these higher pressure gauges, the accuracy can kind of be all over the place. So you don't ever want to really trust these. You want to trust your precision gauge on these plus sized bikes and the fat bikes, but clearly going to be a lot higher than I need, and that just makes sure everything is sealed. And then I'll go ahead and I'll remove that pump, put that off to the side, and then what you're going to want to do is you'll want to be able to spin the tire around several times. So let's go ahead and do that. And that allows the sealant, right, allows that sealant to kind of slosh around and to line the inner part of the rim and hopefully seal off anything. Alright, so we'll do that. Alright, and then we'll just inspect. I just take a look for any leaking. I don't see any leaking. I'll do the same over here as well. Alright. Nope, looks good. Alright, so at that point, move back over here and use my precision gauge. There we are. Make sure that the thread's tight. Make sure that this, let me see if I can get a better focus. Make sure that the valve is up and open. Alright, put my gauge on. Alright, so you can see I'm at 18 psi, and it said it was just a little over 20 on the main pump, so you can see there is a little difference there. And so on this bike I'll typically run about 14 psi in the rear, 13 up front. So got a little release valve here, and this is really nice because it allows you just to get a really dialed in pressure. I'll probably just drop this down to 15 for tonight, and then when I get out to the trail in the morning I'll adjust it accordingly. There we go, so we're at 16. There we go. 15.5. 15. Close enough. Alright. And then you just push the button to reset it there. Alright, and the last thing you want to do is Bring that all the way up on your core. Seal it. All right, it's looking good. And we're rocking and rolling. We're ready to go. All right, guys, hopefully you found that video helpful.